guys, we're going to be doing another variant for Cyberse. This is a Cyberse kind of a beatdown deck, focusing on making your opponent's monsters lose attack with the effect of Cyberse White Hat, of course, and we're focusing on a more recovery kind of build where we actually can bring back monsters from the grave and utilize them to actually attack over our opponents, and we're focusing on dropping opponents' monsters' attack as well as increasing our own. So without further ado, let's just get started with this one. So starting off right away, we are playing 2 copies of Cyberse White Hat. I decided to play 2 because this is a once per turn effect, but if you control 2 or more monsters with the same type, you can special summon this card from your hand, and you can only special summon Cyberse White Hat once per turn this way. If this card is sent to the graveyard as link material, you can make all monsters your opponent control lose 1000 attack until the end of this turn. That's the whole point of this, is he just special summons himself out so easily. As long as you have 2 Cyberse monsters on the board, it's insanely easy to bring him out, and the fact that you can use him as a link material and he can make your opponent lose 1000, it's just insanely good, and it's well worth playing. Obviously he's the main focus of the deck, but we're playing 2 of him because he can actually be returned. We'll go into that later, but we are playing 3 Balancer Lord. Obviously we want to have the ability to summon more monsters on the board. Also, his 1700 attack, very nice there. Playing 3 copies of Lady Debug, again, just a very decent card. 1700 attack as well, very nice. To help actually have more monsters on the board, we need monsters that can special summon, so Backup Secretary, playing 2 copies of those. Also playing 2 Widget Kids because we can bring out Lady Debug or even Balancer Lord from the hand as well. And you can even special summon Cyberse White Hat if you want, but of course White Hat has a really good effect to special summon himself anyway, so no big deal there. Playing 2 copies of Cyberse Gadget. This card allows you to obviously generate a token, so definitely really nice as well. Playing 1 copy of Dotscaper. Playing 1 copy of Stack Reviver, and playing 1 copy of Link Infra Flyer. Definitely really great cards to go for. And speaking of one-offs, we're also playing 1 copy of Cache and 1 copy of Cyberse Converter as well. It's just because these particular 3 here are once per turn, and these 2 are once per duel, so I figure I don't want to actually clog up my hand at all. I want to go as fast as possible into my link summons, and I want the game to end as quickly as possible, because this deck is more so just quickly beating down your opponents, and this deck offers no protection whatsoever, so we just want to get in as many life points off our opponents as possible, hopefully winning in the first 2 turns of the game, and this is very nice here. And of course this deck can actually do things turn 2. If anything, this deck is more so a turn 2 deck rather than a turn 1 deck, because it can OTK, but that's great because most decks these days want to go first, so whether you win or lose, you always want to go second anyway. Also playing 2 copies of Flame Buffalo, just a really nice card. When he leaves the field, you can discard a Cyberse monster and draw 2 cards. Basically, you just want to get rid of more monsters to put in your grave, so that you can actually recover them in a certain way, so we'll get to that later. Playing 2 copies of Link Slayer. This card's actually still really amazing. Basically, you control no monsters, special summon him out. You can also discard up to 2 cards and then target that many number of spells and traps on the field and destroy them. Really amazing card. Obviously, think a lot of people just choose not to play it because it doesn't do anything else, but he is still a free special summon. He's still 2000 attack, and I think he works incredibly well with the White Hat, taking away the opponent's monster's attack as well, so quite nice there. Playing 2 copies of Ram Clouder. Ram Clouder can tribute himself, of course, and target any Cyberse monster in your graveyard and special summon it. It's once per turn, so we're playing only 2 copies of it, but you can even bring back your link monsters, which I think is quite nifty. We're also playing a Rom Cloudier, not as great as Ram Clouder in this case, but it still allows you to bring back a Cyberse monster from your graveyard as well to your hand, so it's definitely quite nice. And if it's the Showbow battle, you can still special summon more from the deck, so just allowing you to constantly have something on the board. 2 copies of Link Streamer. again, just being able to generate more tokens works really well here. And to end things off, we're playing a Boot Stagger just because he just brings himself out the minute you normal summon a Cyberse monster. And he's also 2300 attack, very decent indeed. So definitely working quite well in this particular deck here. For spells, it's going to be really interesting, but we are playing 3 copies of Cynet Recovery. It's a continuous spell card, but the thing is, I think this card is actually just so good to the point where I think even your opponents might want to destroy this card. And there's also cards like Altergeist that can easily just, get rid of this card. So I figure let's go all out and let's go with 3 copies of this. Basically, if a link monster you control is destroyed by battle and an opponent's card effect, you can target 1 monster in your graveyard except the link monster and special summon it in defense. You can only use this effect of Cynet Recovery once per turn. So again, you're only limited to it once per turn, but overall having just 3 copies is very nice because, I'm pretty sure one of them will be destroyed. It constantly keeps bringing back more monsters. Even if your monsters are destroyed just by battle, you'll keep having more from the graveyard. It's just really good, and that's why we're playing a bunch of high attack monsters in our deck, because you can easily just special summon a big attack monsters, so your opponent will have a hard time actually getting through to your life as long as this card exists. As a result, we're playing at least 3 copies here because they're going to destroy the one, and then you'll probably need a second or third, and they'll start realizing that the main focus is meant to be Cyberse White Hat and Cynet Recovery, and the whole focus there, because you can always bring back Cyberse White Hat to use as a link material again, and then drop your opponent's life or attack down to by 1000. So it's definitely a really great card here. Of course, you could also use it as a bluff as well by setting it down. So it's completely up to you how you play it. If you guys think it's a bit excessive, you can drop it down to 2 copies and add in a 3rd copy of Cynet Backdoor instead. We are playing a lot of big attack monsters, so overall Cynet Backdoor could be very versatile in this particular deck, but I'm going to stick to 2 of them and 3 Cynet Recovery. You can shift the ratios between these 2 cards all you want. We're also going to be playing 2 copies of One-Time Passcode. No need to explain, just a free token, free link material. 2 Recoded Alive because, again, it's possible to go into code talkers in this. Although we're, that's the whole point, really. We're going for Cyberse White Hat's effect, and the fact that you can just help OTK using Recoded Alive is definitely quite nice as well. We're going to be playing 2 Parallel Port Armor. This card's a really good card. Target 1 monster you control, equip it with this card, and your opponent cannot target the equipped monsters with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by battle. So overall, they're going to have to work really hard to actually get through to you. So overall, this deck not only does it have great defense, but the whole purpose is really offense. So it definitely serves pretty well to actually have a card like this as well. But its next effect is actually really amazing. You can banish this card and 2 link monsters from your graveyard, and then target a link monster you control, and it can make a 2nd attack during the battle phase. Very, very, very nice. Obviously, if we're weakening our opponent's monsters and we're getting multiple attacks, I think that's really good. So overall, this card has definitely been a really nice OTK helper here. But that's pretty much it with the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. Alright, the extra deck, very offensive. So Decode Talker, just 2 links right there. Instantly he's at 3300. So very powerful, very nice card there. Encode Talker, of course, his effect is all about battling the opponent. So it definitely works quite well as well. Xcode Talker, just another option. Transcode Talker, we're playing 2 copies of him, of course. But, he can also bring out more materials from the graveyard as well. Very nice. And also, co-linked monsters gain 500 attack. So, another great card there. Power Code Talker, of course, focusing on battle. Really nice, of course. And Vector Scare Archfiend. This card is actually the one card that works really well with the Cyberse White Hats, because obviously you can bring back their monsters as well on your side or back to their side to allow them to attack again. So it's definitely quite nice, really. He's the one main card I actually go for to help win this game. Tregate Wizard, still a viable option. It's mostly just the first co-linked effect. As long as you are co-linked once, then any of your monsters co-linked that battles will deal double the damage, which is just great because all your opponent's monsters' attack have been reduced by 1000 due to Cyberse White Hat. So try get Wizard, really amazing card here. Detonate Deleter, still think it's a great card. Just pop a monster on your opponent's side, very much so works well. Update Jammer, we want to lock our opponents out, you know. It's really the only one card that can just stop our opponents from doing anything, and he's quite important there. Honeybot, bit of protection. Our opponents can't actually get through to us, you know, through battle. It's really nice, and you know, they're going to be losing more life points in battle than we are. So overall, as long as we can protect our monsters, we can keep doing a lot of more big plays to go with there, so it's definitely quite nice. Link Rebo, just because it's a possible option. A little bit of defense in this deck does not hurt at all. We're playing Binary Sorceress. This card is a really great card in this particular variant. If it is co-linked, if it's the number of co-links it has, basically, when a monster co-linked to this card battles your opponent's monster and inflicts battle damage to them, you gain that much life points. That's a really great effect, and that's the whole purpose of it as well, because, again, you're reducing the opponent's monster's attack by 1000. You're getting in an extra 1000 life point gain there with Binary Sorceress if you co-link it together with Try Get Wizard or something like that. It's definitely quite nice to go into that. And of course, Flame Administrator, just because it boosts all your link monsters up by 800. I just think it's really, really amazing. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this deck. As you can see, it's a really fun variant of the deck. I love using Cyberse White Hat. Works quite amazingly, and I just don't see any decks that actually utilize it. I mean, yeah, it's not that competitive, and it's kind of a one-for-all kind of thing, but overall, it still is just insanely fun going into all these big plays. Sometimes you just want to go into big monsters, attack, and give a nice OTK on your opponent. So yeah, it's definitely really fun here, but I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile and hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you next time.